Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I am so happy to be here with you. Again, I'm bringing you a new video. This is the card we're making. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I love these dies from this Nature's Prints. It's so beautiful. I've paired them also with my always go-to layering circles. You guys know I love layering circles, and I use those to do the circle medallion here in the center of the wreath. So I used this circle here, the second one down from that side, and the second smallest from this side. So when you pair them together, you get that really cool look. So definitely check out the layering circles. They're linked in the description below. The Nature's Prints bundle, I've been using it all week, and these are what the dies look like. Pretty cool. You have all these little extra pieces. This wreath is to die for. That's what I used as my main focal. I also used the folder, the fern. It's an embossing folder that you can get, and it leaves this gorgeous fern impression. Isn't that beautiful? So we're going to use that also on the front of the card. Then, of course, we're using the Sun Prints DSP, and this is the piece we're using today in this gray granite. This is what the other side looks like. So it is gorgeous, gorgeous. So let's go ahead and get started. And you can find, like I said, the products linked in the description below, everything I used. I'm going to give you the dimensions so that you guys can recreate this card. I do use a lot of scraps though, so you'll have to bear with me when I tell you it's a scrap. I don't know the size because I do try and use up all my cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch Mossy Meadow. And I do try to use my Simply Score tool and score it in the center. I didn't do this one ahead of time, so I'm going to do it real quick with you now. So I take, and I go at 5 1/2 because it's 11 inches long, so I want the halfway point. And I give it a little score mark. And then I take that little score mark and I burnish with my bone folder. So there's my card. All right, let's start. So I have a piece of 2 inch by 5 1/2 inch of Mossy Meadow that I have embossed with the fern embossing folder. Pretty cool, right? And that's gonna get glued right here. So let's do that first. We're gonna use silicone mat because I'm gonna be using the multi-purpose glue, and I like to use it for that. So we'll go ahead and use that because it fits into all these little nooks and crannies. I just think it's the best adhesive for this kind of work. I do use it quite often. It is a little bit messy, which is why we use the silicone mat. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up. And we'll place it on this left side of our card, making sure it's right butted up to the top and to the left edge. And I'm gonna press that in place. All right, now comes the DSP. So this piece is 2 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm also gonna use the wet adhesive. We're on a roll, why not? So I'm gonna wiggle that on there, go around the edge. And we're gonna pick that up, and I'm gonna place it on the right side of the card. Make sure it's butted along the top edge and along the right side. And it is. All right, so that's what we have so far. Then I have a piece of old olive cardstock, and this is a 1/2 inch by 5 1/2 inches, and it's gonna go down the center. So the first thing that I wanna do is make sure that the edges, if they're sticking out at all, are trimmed. And I do have a little bit sticking out right here before I glue that old olive piece in place. I wanna cut these. We don't want anything overhanging when we open our card. We want it to look nice and clean from the inside. All right, so now I've cut all those pieces off. And now we can glue our old olive strip down the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the adhesive on the back of it. And again, I'm going to use my tweezers. I don't want to get glue on my fingers. And we're gonna center this and place it. I'm gonna show you how I did it. So I wanted more of the DSP showing than the embossed section. So I kind of moved this all the way over, as far over as I could, without showing that I'm right on the edge of that designer series paper. And I placed that down just like that. And that's how I got a little bit larger on this side. And then of course, I'm very good at overcutting, and I do that because I don't want it. I can always cut off, but I can't glue back, right? So I can't glue on a little extra piece of cardstock if we're short, but if we're a little long, we can trim that off. All right, so that is the basic premise of our card. The next part is going to be the wreath, and I have die cut that out, but I have to pull the center and all of these little pieces out. So just bear with me. I wanted to show you how it actually looks when you die cut it. And depending on the condition of your matte or your clear piece that you die cut on, is if the pieces will fall all the way out, or if they will, like mine, stay into your thing. But it's not that hard. You just walk, it's not that many. You just go around and poke out what is left. I got them all now. So I'm gonna take this to the trash can. Wiggle all of that in there. All right. So now we're gonna adhere that to our cardstock, to our card front, excuse me, not cardstock. And so I wanted to use some dimensionals. I wanted it to have a lift to it. So baby dimensionals to the rescue. I love these because they fit in all these teeny tiny spots and places, and you can tuck them in. So I'm gonna start pulling them out and putting them onto these pieces. So let's do that. I hope everybody has been having a great summer. Been a little too hot for me. I always can't wait for it to get warm, and then when it gets warm I'm like, why can't spring last longer? I need to live somewhere that it is like permanent springtime, right? Like that would be perfect. If it's like permanent springtime, oh, that would be awesome. Okay, so it looks like in this section I did pretty good. I think I can put another one right here. But in some sections here, we have the pieces are too small, even for these mini dimensionals, and they're gonna show if I put them. But I definitely want the support that I have in this side also on this side. So I'm gonna grab a set of mini dimensionals. See how it gives you like a wide border? Well, I have one that I've started over here, and you can see that I've been cutting. I like to use it when I do things like this. So I'm just gonna cut small little thin pieces, and then I'm going to use them instead, and I'm going to put those in places to add stability. And then if I still need more, then I will cut some mini dimensionals in half, but I think that this will do the trick for me. The only bad thing about doing this is it's sometimes hard to pull the backs off of them because they're so skinny. And sometimes like that one, it comes off without you wanting it to. So then that's not good either. Okay, but we're working our way around our little wreath. And I'm gonna put some of these, and I'll put one right here. All right, I think we're good. Maybe a couple half dimensionals. So let me get this out of the way. I'll grab a dimensional and we'll cut it in half. And just probably don't need it, but I'm a little extra. And I put way too many dimensionals on things. So I always feel like maybe just one more. Maybe just, yeah, one more. Oh boy. Is there a group for that? Anyway, that looks pretty good to me. Are you guys satisfied? Maybe one more half dimensional. Yes, is there a support group? Someone help me. Stop using dimensionals. All right. Let's put one right there because that one kind of needs it. I'm going to put one on that piece, this small piece right here. All right. So now I have them on the back, and this is the worst part of cutting them in half and using the strips, is pulling the backs off of them, because it's a little bit harder because they're so skinny. So I'm going to try and get all those skinny ones off first. And then I will move on to, that one's already done. Is this one done? There. All right, now we'll move on to the half dimensionals, and then I'll work on this regular size ones. All right, on to the regular dimensionals. But you see, even though this takes a little bit of time to do, it is so worth it. This card is gorgeous, and the little bit of lift that these foam dimensionals give, I think is totally worth the effort. Almost done. I like to purge them regularly because then they come off so easy. Don't stick to my finger. Okay, one more. This is my last one. There we go. All right, so here's our wreath. And we are gonna put it down on our card. And I'm gonna try to make sure that nothing is sticking out. I'm gonna look, because, you know, I've been known to make messes and do things. Okay, so there we go. That's good. I think everything's tucked. I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to try anyway, stick this wreath down since it wants to stay stuck to me and not get stuck onto the paper. There we go. I'm going to grab this section here where it has none and this section. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and place it on my card. And when I'm happy with where it's laying, I'm going to go ahead and press it into place. So there's our wreath. Isn't that pretty? But what really makes this card, and I think it does anyway, is the circles in the center. So we're going to start by just gluing this one flat down onto this piece. So I'm just going to add a little bit around the edges, and I want it to glue to the lifted section. I'm putting the wet adhesive just around the edges. See why I use the mat? Because I am so good at making messes. So just around the edge of the circle, okay? Let's use my tweezers so I don't get my hands gluey. All right, so see how that's just around the edges? And the reason is I want that circle to kind of float up on the wreath so that it looks like there's been dimensionals on it, but there are none. All right, so there is that. Let's wipe that off. Now we're gonna do our middle section. So we're gonna stamp our "You're on My Mind." I'm gonna bring it down here, hopefully you guys can see, yeah. So we're gonna use Mossy Meadow ink. All right, and let's stamp that right in the center. And I'm going to set that off to the side. We don't need that yet. We're going to work on the inside of our card. We're going to stamp a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a scrap paper. You guys know how to keep scrap paper on my desk. I'm going to try and grab one that's in a little holder, and sometimes I have a hard time getting my hand on it. Okay. So down this side, I'll show you the inside of the card. I did a little thing of ferns and some splatters. So the fern is in gray granite, and the splatter dot is going to go in Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to do the fern first. I'm going to ink that up, and the reason I have the scrap paper is I'm going to go off of the edge. So I'm going to start first in the center. Okay, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want my fern to go, and it's going to go right like that. Now I'm going to kind of make it nestle within that area. Let's see how I go off the edge. We're gonna put this one in here, just like that. So those are the three. I'm gonna clean that in a minute. We'll go onto the spot now. So let's get that nice and inked. And we're gonna also go off the edge. So I'm gonna make sure that my scrap paper is near. We'll place that splatter right there. Oh, I love this stamp. I love this stamp so much. Little grunge look, but I just think it gives so much to this card. What do you guys think? Isn't it awesome? And let's give it the last little splatter. Maybe right like this. And I'm gonna put a little one right here on the edge. Oh, I love it. Okay, so then that's gonna get glued inside. But I'm gonna clean my stamps. I always do that. And since there is no editing on my videos, you just have to watch, but it doesn't take but a second. I like to clean them because if not, then I have a big mess on my desk and it just takes a second to take care of it. Okay, so this piece here we're gonna glue into the card. So I'm gonna use my seal adhesive and I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the inside of our card. I think I just moved my little mat a little bit, but if I did, I'm sorry. Let's open our card. This is gonna go on the inside. Oh, this is so beautiful with this mossy meadow. I love this color. Okay, so there's the inside of our card. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so let's work on the outside. Now we have this little circle kind of glued down. We're gonna make this little section in the middle. So what I did was I took the gray granite twine, and it comes in the essentials pack here. You get this Baker's Twine Essentials pack, and you get 5 colors, and this gray color is one of them. And so I just wrap them around my fingers like 4 times. Okay. And then I cut with my scissor. Come on. There we go. Put that twine away. And then what I did was I just kind of held it like this, and I just kind of let it do its own thing, whatever it wanted to do. I kind of made like a little mess with the twine. See that? Just a little total mess. Now I want the edges contained, so if one of the little like rough edges comes out, I'm gonna push that in, but you see how that's just like this little like mess of twine? So now we're gonna put this over the top of it, and it's gonna kind of hold it in place. So I wanna use dimensionals. I love using them to hold stuff down. So there's one. And we know that some of this is gonna show, so I can't go too close to the edge, but I'm good if I stay like right in the center there. So I wanna make sure that there's some on all the sections, so it kind of like stays in place, right? There we go. Let me see how that looks so far. Yes, let's put another one right here, so we have a little support for our circle. And how's that? I think that's awesome. Look, it feels nice when I put it down. Okay, so let's pull those off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the backs off of those, and you can see that that twine is just kind of floating around. And then we're gonna take the You're on My Mind circle, and we're gonna press that in the center here and make sure it's straight and centered as best we can. And then you can always pull on it and make it a little bit more wild once you have it secured. I'm gonna give a little bit more on this side here. Yeah, I love that. And then that is how you do it. So then let's use our embellishments, the best part, right? We're going to use the solid faceted gems, and we have this beautiful green color in here. See? So we're going to use our take your pick tool, and I'm going to grab a large one. We'll put it down here in this corner, maybe on that old olive. It'll show really well. Grab another one, put it up here, and let's take a small one, put it with it. I like when there are two of them together. I think sometimes that looks good. You can see all the pretty colors that you get. 6 colors. This is a great little set of embellishments. It is linked in the description below. So there it is. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this card. I think it came together rather quick, rather awesome. I'm very pleased with it, and I hope you are as well. If you do not subscribe to my channel, please do so. I'd greatly appreciate it. You'll get notifications when I post new videos. I do post about 5 videos a week, and I try and touch the same stamp set or bundle multiple times so that you guys have lots of ideas if you choose to purchase it from me. The links are in the description below. It'll take you to my online store. My website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, is always there. I blog every day on it. These projects are also on there, as well as additional projects. And also, you can get lots of information on that site. For the inside, I forgot to tell you that the piece that went on the inside is a piece of basic white, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. I gave you the dimensions on the outside. The piece that I cut the wreath out of was just a scrap, but if you use something about 4 1/4 inches by 4 or 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4, you should be fine with that. And then the 2 circles were done with scraps, but this one's about a 2-inch circle, so 2 by 2, and that one's about 2 1/4, so 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. That should cut that out fine for you. And I told you this was 1/2 inch by 5 1/2. This was 2 this was 2 by 5 1/2, and this was 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then the Mossy Meadow for the core of your card was 4 1/4 by 11. So thanks for staying with me till the end. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you next time. This is Kelly with Inky Handswarm Hearts. Happy stamping, guys!